Well, what's up, everybody? You are now tuned into another episode of Beatbox, episode 10. My name is Dylan. You can also call me Palm, Jesus of SoundCloud, Black Tom Anderson, and your favorite rapper still owes me money. I am joined by my lovely co-host.
I'm Foxy Box, the plump and proper princess of your nightmares. No. Fuck
Your
if I
nightmares,
know.
okay?
I am whatever you want me to be. That's what my job is.
Well,
So,
thank you. Well, interesting week. Sluggish Monday for me. Very, very sluggish. I don't know if it's the heat or the defeat. I don't really feel like I've lost anything because it was an opportunity to win. But we want us to start off our mental health topic with kind of talking about the economy and how a lot of us are tightening up our belts and, kind of finding that, dollars are low, desires are high. And Foxy, I think, we feel the same way, but as two people from different walks of life in different industries, I kind of want you to take it away and, share with me how the economy is affecting you and yours.
yeah, so something that I'm facing is, a lot of the work that I do is personality. You can be as hot as you want, but if you don't know, how to hold a conversation or have like a nice, welcoming disposition, people aren't going to spend much money on you, right? So, like, what I'm running into is, the economy's strained. People don't have money to spend on extra shit right now, which really affects the sex work industry as a whole. But then the lack of money, it leads to lack of like enjoying life. And so I've kind of been in this funk where I'm like, I don't have any extra money to spend. Um, and so then my productivity tanks because all I'm doing is working and working, and I'm not having any like personal time to like actually enjoy life. So then I get depressed and then I just don't work. Just tap out. And so it's hard because that economy hits like the mental health really hard because especially when you're in like a business where you're selling yourself as a product, you can't, it's hard to not take that kind of shit personally, even though it's really not personal. It's like a sign of the times. Everybody's struggling. So I think that it's like that. When's enough for us as a populace? When are we gonna be like, we're not taking this shit? That's where
Yeah.
I'm at with it.
Um, so do you think we're headed for some type of uprising or some type of strike that kind of goes beyond what's happening with WGA and SAG right now?
I
Because
sure the fuck hope so.
excuse me, even hotel employees are on strike now, and as well as UPS, at least here locally in Southern California.
Yeah.
So, what do I see? What's next? I really want wages to be raised, and I really want there to be more of an incentive for people to get a good job. Because even behind the scenes in the entertainment industry with this WGA strike and with these two strikes going on, this hasn't happened in 60 years. So I think that the jobs behind the scenes in music, film, and TV are like kind of just seem like off in the distance now. And it's like, what is the next thing to do? And I've kind of been in a funk as well. But you just still got to put your nose to the grindstone no matter what. Like they're not going to pay you to to lay in bed and scroll through Twitter.
Right. Well, and a lot of people are like, well, wanting to like enter things like sex work and stuff right now because it's kind of we're at a crossroads where it's like, I have no fucking reason to keep doing this job, so I might as well chase my dreams. But like the dreams are pretty smashed as a whole right now. So it's just like this cycle we're all in where it's just like there's no give in any type of industry. And so, yeah, I think that at this point, people should collectively like start to put differences aside for the greater good and try to hold powers that be accountable. Because I think that when it comes down to it, is it's not wages. Wages aren't the problem. Corporate greed is the fucking problem.
Yeah, I think that's definitely it. Corporate greed is the problem. But I kind of segue back to like, in 2020 we were getting these stimulus checks and there was EDD because so many people were out of work because of the pandemic. And 2021 there were still stimulus checks. 2022 and 2023 that hasn't been the case. So, and like I've been saying, you kind of get two choices. You can either pursue your goals and your dreams and aspirations, or you can help someone else achieve their goals.
Right.
And like having started working for a corporation in the last 8 weeks, it's like, when you walk in their facility and they're like, okay, well, here's our goals today. And it's like, well, I don't give a fuck about this. I literally just want to do well so I can be tipped out properly and then also not have to be scrutinized by management.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think that what a good technique is, and kind of what I'm trying to hone in on with like my personal flow of like productivity and stuff,
Yeah.
is I think that all of us, rather than pouring out our strengths to these corporations, we should be building each other up, and pouring the strengths into each other. And so it's like, what are you good at? Oh, this person's good at web design. Oh, this person's good with social media. Oh, this person's really good with purchasing. They know how to like get deals and stuff like that. We could all pour these strengths into each other. It's like, the old school way of things, like when people used to like barter and things like that. It's like, at what point do we start pouring into things like that instead of like working for the problem?
Right.
Pretty heavy
Yeah.
shit, guys.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like to come together. I mean, I'd love to see some type of content creators union be formed.
Right. I'm kind of trying to network with a lot of different sex workers and just working with the people that like just have the same kind of flow that I do and are like minded and stuff. And, start to like have like a hoe union kind of sorts where we keep lists of like people that are wasting our time, disrespecting us. We're all having each other's backs, and it strengthens your network. And that's actually going to be part of my sex work tips. So I shouldn't jump the gun here. So yeah, I think that basically when it comes to the mental health is maintaining realistic goals and allowing yourself to understand that it's not just you right now. And you just have to like lean into what is strong and what's proven to work, I think is kind of what you have to do right now.
Right. I agree. You got to pick yourself up sometimes, and however that may be, however that may look.
Right. Well, and also it's like, uh not any like there's no more time to waste in a lot of ways, so it's just really just figuring it out.
Figuring it out. Yeah.
Oh, and also something that I notice is we as like content creators, we notice these platforms have like the ebb and flow, and we're like, oh, Twitter's about to go down, and everybody goes chasing all these other platforms.
Yeah,
And I
like
think that it's something
threads.
that happens a lot with like sex work too. Is, oh, stream mates sucking, what's better? Oh, night flirt sucks, what's better? Oh, I
Hmm.
can't get sex panther, what's next? And it seems like we're all just chasing a dragon when we should just be sticking to what we know, and also building our own social medias, because really like we're not it's not doing us any good to spread ourselves thin.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that the same can be applied to music and covering the
Mhm.
independent world. It's like you're constantly moving on to the next thing. That has the same to do with social media and the same to do with the streaming services, and then it's what's next, what's next, what's next. So like the game and the industries are going to keep revolving. The question is, are you going to keep evolving?
Right. Right. I think that the internet has made us kind of lazy in a lot of ways
Yeah.
with evolving. So we'll see what happens, guys. But hold on tight, because I don't think this year is coming to an end for
No.
another few months, and I think shit's gonna be pretty different by the time we hit 2024.
Right. Yeah. Because the election's next year, and I don't even want to get into that.
Oh, we'll talk about it, I'm sure, as the
Oh yeah,
podcast
we'll talk
goes
about
week
it.
by
We'll definitely
week.
talk about it. Don Jace, how you doing, man? Yeah. We'll talk about it next year, though, when the
Absolutely.
time comes.
So yeah, shall we move on to our news for the week? Our couple of stories we pulled.
Let's move on to it.
All right. How about you start us off with Akon?
Okay, so it surfaced that Akon in his youth was telling people that he was an African prince. And I find it interesting that I read his Wikipedia bio and found out he was born in St. Louis and then but grew up in his father's native land, which is Senegal. and then moved back to the United States and was raised in New Jersey. Then his family again resettled in Atlanta. But when you think of somebody telling, and it said in his Wikipedia that he didn't get along with other kids. Um, it's interesting because when you think about royalty, well, how do people say that they're royalty? They just say it. They just say they're royal, and that's it. So I thought it was a little, kind of tongue in cheek type of thing that he was telling people he was royal, but to be, a platinum selling artist and like be, grow up to be Akon and then go around and saying you're royal is like there's definitely a level of speaking of manifesting, speaking that into existence.
Oh yeah, I totally didn't even think of like the manifesting part of that. That's pretty funny when you
Yeah.
think of it like that. I thought it was fun how I had noted that he said that he was just bored and he wanted acceptance. And so he found that he really enjoyed like cars. And so he had like really extravagant, like luxury vehicles and stuff. And so that's where he adapted to lying that he was an African prince. Just more context on that. And he also said that he was inspired to do that after he watched Coming to America.
God, it just comes full circle with the coming to America part.
Yeah, and I was really shocked to find out that he wasn't like raised in Africa, because
Well,
I
partially.
always just assumed that. Um, I really loved Akon when I was younger. His first album that he put out, that song "Ghetto," that was like such a good fucking song. I remember the
Yeah.
first time I heard it, and I
I
heard the
mean,
melody to it, and
when
I
I
was
was
like,
reading this story, the first songs that came to mind were Soul Survivor and then Nobody Wanna See Us Together.
"Oh my god, Akon, Akon,
Akon,
ladies
I'm
and
sorry.
gentlemen."
Yeah.
So our next story that we're going to talk about is Travis Scott. Sheck West was speaking about his newest project with Travis Scott called Utopia, and it's a highly anticipated project which Sheck West said is next level. They're unveiling it at the pyramids of Giza in Egypt.
Big baller shit. I think, you know what? For Sheck West to be like, not have a hit since what,
2018.
2018? Yeah. Hey, you got to make a big comeback. Why not go to Egypt?
Well, yeah, why not? I mean, you have all the money in the world to
Yeah.
waste on that shit. Yeah, I'm whatever about it. There's no release date for it. And they are just comparing it to his release at Astro World, which naturally makes me think of the Astro World tragedy that happened. And
Yeah.
it's like, did this guy just like skate by, like, and just didn't? It's so crazy, like cancel culture, how they'll like cancel somebody that's like a good fucking person for doing one bad thing, but then some people just skate the fuck by. It's so confusing because that shit should have been way more controlled. And like, I'm pretty sure the company that put on Astro World is no longer a thing. If I remember correctly, because I think it's the same company that does like Paradiso and stuff.
We got to get clear on what that company is. But
Yeah, I
I
can't
think
remember.
I'm surprised that Travis Scott's career has maintained since that incident that
Right.
took place in 2021. So he needs to be careful, about his live performance presence, like
Sounds like
anywhere.
Kitty wants a treat.
What was that?
Did you hear it?
It sounded like a Surrey voice.
It's my Alexa. Every time that it's like after a period of time, if my dog barks, it'll be like, sounds like Kitty wants a treat. But yeah, it is pretty crazy how he just seemed to had come out of that like really untouched. I remember there was like some half-hearted apology that he had made that really was just like,
Yeah,
meh,
I,
sorry.
I did a meme. I did a TikTok of that roasting him because he was just like, "Oh, we gotta do the right thing for the families. And he just looked like this stressed out elementary school student. So I did a voiceover over him. I was like, what am I gonna do? It's 11:30 p.m. I haven't studied at all, and the social studies test is tomorrow. I have to make a PowerPoint. I have to make a display board. I have to present in front of the class. I don't know anything about Woodrow Wilson.
Oh my
That's
god.
that's what Travis Scott's face looked like, and 10 people just died at his concert.
Dude, it's just so wild. And then the conspiracies that came from it, it's like it was an initiation. He was ushering hell on earth.
Yeah, people say it was like all this conspiracy theory shit about how
Yeah,
evil it was, but
whatever.
load of hoo ha, whatever.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to the victims.
Yeah, rest in peace,
Next
Travis Scott.
story.
Yeah, so in hip hop history today, we have Guru from Gangstar's birthday is 7/17/1961. So
Long live Guru.
happy
I have very
birthday.
fond memories listening to Gangstar, and Guru was also an alumni of Clark Atlanta University, my father's alma mater.
Awesome.
So, yeah, definitely a hip hop hero in my book. Long live Guru. Also,
Yeah.
another since departed soldier of hip hop celebrated a heavenly birthday on July 13th. That's MF Doom. You see it?
Yes.
Instagram, you see the tat. YouTube, you see the tat. Rest in peace, Doom.
Huge loss for
Huge
the
loss.
music community as a whole because he was able to kind of like have like this bridge between genres where he's just widely appreciated as an artist. Yeah, and we didn't find out until several months after that he had passed. It was like
Yeah,
October when we had
it was
actually like
October. Yeah, he died around Halloween or on Halloween, and it wasn't until New Year's that it was found out.
yeah, so super sad. Another death in July 16th, 2021, Biz Markie passed.
Oh yeah.
Huge part of hip hop history there. So rest in peace. Did you ever see what was that kids show that had like all the different music artists that would come on it?
Yo, Yabba Gabba?
Yeah, did you ever see the one with Biz Markie where he's got like the bat hat on? And then, like,
I don't think so, but I did. Hey, pick a bell. I don't think I saw that one of Yo Gabba Gabba, but what I did remember is like in the first Saints Row video game, first or second, the song "Pickin' Boogers" from Biz Markie was on there, and that was definitely classic.
yeah, yeah, definitely like an iconic staple in the hip hop world.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you ready to talk music?
I'm ready to talk music. Well, my song of the week was "Watch Out for the Riders" with Jay Worthy, Hit Boy, and Big Hit. What I loved about this song and this music video was that it's in Pasadena, which is a city that holds a special place in my heart. I used to live there, and I did high school there, so that's the Rose Bowl. It's like cornerstone of the community. And Big Hit and Hit Boy are a father son duo. Hit Boy's worked with everybody. Jay Worthy's worked with like so many talented artists. So to see them all come together, and really, represent that gang culture that's there, and really, just represent the West Coast was just really dope to see how all that unfolded in the video, and it's just very, very hip hop. Like if you listen to the track, it's just very, old school sample loop. I've just been into Hit Boy and Big Hit like more and more.
Yeah, and I also had noted how Jay Worthy is obviously making a lot of moves. You introduced myself and probably several of our listeners to Jay Worthy's album, one of our first episodes that he had just released. Um,
Right.
so definitely somebody that's making moves and is going to just continue to be more and more of a staple. I really loved the lack of like the music in the background of this track, and it was just like the
Yeah.
choir beat.
Yeah,
Like
they
that
didn't have that
was,
many drums going on.
yeah,
I
it was
think,
basically vocally led.
yeah, Hit Boy being the super producer, but now trying more of his hand at rapping. I think it would be interesting to hear like a whole Jay Worthy and Hit Boy project, because Hit Boy's produced like projects for Nas and Don Kennedy. So like, with heavyweights like that, that he's done entire albums with, and he produced "Niggas in Paris" by Jay-Z and Kanye. So it's like, who
That
knows what
Watch the
this.
Throne album is seriously such like a timeless like
It's one of the best
classic.
collab rap
Fuck,
albums
it's
ever,
so good.
like
So
ever.
good. I remember just listening to it from cover to cover, just like, fuck, let's play it
Yeah.
again.
Ooh, I love you so, but why I love you, I never know.
Oh yeah, now I gotta listen to that. So your album of the week, Pimp Etiquette by
Pimp Etiquette
Fish.
from Atlanta rapper FishXGrits. Now, I just saw that came out today, and I've known about FishXGrits for about a year. It was through he had a song with Jay Worthy, and I think if I'm not mistaken, he has worked with my boys Anthony Danza and All Hail YT, and he has Sharp, from Soft White Underbelly and No Jumper on the album. And he's just talking that pimp shit. He's really in tune with the streets and really in tune with the Mackin and the ism and the game. And I love that, some of that has, as I've gotten older, has become some of my favorite rap music. But on this project, there's a little too much auto tune. There's a little too much auto tune to be like true to, I think, that sound that he was going for. And there's nothing wrong with a new school twist to an old school message, but I just feel like there was a little bit too much auto tune for my taste. And I still do admire the street shit he was talking about in the game he was kicking.
So I just love how much our brains are so similar because a big thing that I wrote was heavy on the auto tune. It's not exactly off putting, but it was just very heavy on the auto tune. And then I wrote that I'd like to have a conversation with you to find out if auto tune is just like the normal now. Because
Yeah.
it seems like there's just, I remember back when like it started being a thing and people like, the that's auto tune. We don't like that, and then now it's just like heavily saturated in most music. And
You
so
know
is
what?
that just the new
The
norm?
the other day, I think, well, it's interesting. Let me hold that thought about autotune. Because while I was listening to this FishXGrits album, in the middle of it, I queued up Me and My Drink by Lil Wayne and Short Dog. And I think that's a song that, like, perfectly uses autotune,
Yeah.
But when it's like ketchup, too much of it makes it wet. But, like, just enough is, like, perfect.
Right.
And if you go back to the '90s, which is like the golden era of hip hop, it really is that way because that's when you had like really funky beats and then dudes who could really rap or women singing or people just rapping on the track and really like you felt what they were saying. So you go back to All Eyes on Me, and you go back to Wu-Tang Clan, and you go back on these classic projects, and you hear, okay, like on All Eyes on Me, for example, it's not just Pac spitting. He's got the Outlaws on there. He's got E40 and the Click on there. There's other vocal talents that are on there. You can even go back to old Atmosphere, and then it's not just Slug, it's Spawn too. So like I think people back in the '90s played off each other on songs better.
They had that good like back and forth thing.
Exactly.
And that's what I actually like find myself like the more and more I've listened to Suicide Boys.
Yeah.
Thanks to Beatbox, we're the place to find your new favorite song.
The
um,
drop.
but really
It's the
though, like
beatbox, baby.
ever since I think why I like them so much is that they do that back and forth shit that like is like such like a centerpiece to all of like the music that we grew up loving as like hip hop heads. And so
Yep.
I think that maybe like a certain like part of like the hip hop music and everything that's being produced, they've become more like self-centered about it. Like it's less of like a group project. I don't know.
Yeah. There's definitely debates on that. It's definitely groups end up just not working, but you just can't beat a good collaboration. And some of my favorite rap songs of all time are good collaborations. That's why I fuck with Jay Worthy so heavy because he's great with the collaborations.
You know what we don't get a lot for like collaborations anymore is like the male female kind of dynamic like we used to get.
And I cherish those. That's why, with Thick Karaoke, I've been doing so many of those.
Yeah. We need bring it back, guys. Come on. Like the masculine feminine
Yeah.
kind of it's nice. So yeah, what I had mostly wrote was also that I wanted to shout out to you for the sensitivity that you portrayed by asking a sex worker if they would be comfortable wanting to talk about pimp etiquette and the topic of the album and stuff. And of course, I'm like, shit,
Yes.
yeah, I love hoe culture. Like, let's fucking talk about it. It's part of all of it. It's the story. Like, so I just you never cease to like impress me with your mindfulness and that you just really care for the community that you're like representing and giving a platform to. So like you're
Exactly.
just
Thank
such a
you.
fucking gem, dude.
Thank you, baby. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
You know what? It's a level of sensitivity and a practicality I think we can all learn from. I told you in the beginning, we're going to offend each other in working with each other as friends, as collaborators, as business partners.
Right.
But as long as you're clear about, going to that third rail, whether it's about race or whether it's about sexuality or whether it's about class, I think we're in good shape. You know what I mean?
Oh, we have had so many times where and it's never been like anything like gross feeling or anything. It's just like we naturally are able to communicate like, hey, I didn't like this, or me being a
Yeah.
big baby, like you hurt my feelings, like But I mean, and even like if I'm like, I feel like I can't like, properly speak on like this song,
Yeah.
we just that's I think like people could really learn something from us about communication.
Right. Yeah. We're definitely like, breaking down barriers as far as, different
Not to
shows,
flex or
not to
anything, the
flex
beach
or
is that
anything, but
way. Okay, so let's talk about the album that we kind of chose as like our in the middle of like not your pick or my pick, the Slump Boys, Afghanistan.
yeah,
Um,
Slumpboyz, Afghanistan.
it was so
Uh,
nice for me to hear that after listening to the heavily auto-tuned shit. I was like, ah,
yeah, because their
how the
sound their
fuck do they
sound is
only
very, very rooted in '90s G funk. You
Oh,
know,
and how do they only have 260 subs on their YouTube? You guys go check out the
yeah.
Slump Boys,
I
our
remember
beatbox
coming
playlist.
across Slumpboyz in 2020 at the suggestion of my partner Dottie Gatz, who's a rapper out of Phoenix, Arizona, and this crew of dudes who are Sons of Samoa, Crips out of Oxnard, California, and they're just really on that '90s tip. I'm like, damn, this is like Dog Pound and Death Row all over again. Just listening to them, and through time, like members have gone back and forth from prison, and you hear that you hear like these different freestyles from the various members throughout the album, but they just reviving a G Funk sound, and I'm not mad at those guys at all, man. So big ups to the Slump Boys.
Oh, definitely. They were this week. This is my favorite album or slash song that we reviewed. Was these guys Slump Boys Afghanistan. You guys, it's in the beatbox playlist. Go find your new favorite music. Like keep up with the times. Don't let yourself get like old. Come on, that's what
No,
we're here for.
get with some new stuff, man. Keep it pretty awesome and lit.
Yes. So yeah, Slump Boys were really great. I listened to That's on You. I really loved that one. It felt very old school, like cruiser, music. I really did like them. I felt like NB Riders. I don't know if you're familiar with, but kind of just like a group collabo kind of G Funk influence that I've heard growing up. And then also Gangsta Party was really, really good. And I wrote, these guys should be a lot bigger. So let's
Yeah,
try to put them on because they're fucking great.
no, they really should. I mean, in the next couple years, next couple months, I want to see Slump Boys open for like YG or something. You know,
Yeah, they're
Op-
great. And
let them open for somebody, or keep it to the blue team. Have them, sorry, I'm off the screen because I'm plugging in my. There we go. And God said, "Let there be light."
let that
All
be
right.
like.
Yeah, I'd like to see Slump Boys open for like shit. Keep OT Genesis, and, open for somebody hard, from the West Coast. Open for Blueface. I don't know.
Um, I also
Open for
listened to
Corrupt. That would
Sagan.
make more sense. Yeah, open for like Daz and Corrupt.
I listened to Sagan and it sounded like a freestyle. So I was like, oh, this is probably like freestyled. And I liked just kind of the three songs that I listened to, the diversity that I did hear within like their lyric styles. So you guys definitely, if you check out anything this week, Slumpboyz,
Hey,
Afghanistan.
Slumpboyz, we'll repost this on Instagram and TikTok, this little segment. But if y'all want Palm to come up to the 805 and do a little hood vlog with y'all, I think it's about that time, man.
I am so sorry, you guys, for Kitty. My neighbors are really triggering her today. She doesn't like anybody else to live. It's her problem.
A dog named Kitty. Wow.
So let's talk about my music now.
Let's go.
Kitty, will you please come in here and shut up? Come here. I can't can't go hollering at the dog the whole time. Okay. So I saw today when I was choosing what I wanted to review, I saw that Disclosure had a new album that came out called Alchemy. If you're not familiar with Disclosure, they're a duo that do like kind of house type music, EDM.
Hello, who produced Latch with Sam Smith in
Yeah,
2014.
and they kind of put each other on the map, honestly. Like, so I really, really like Disclosure. They're actually my favorite of the genre. And I love like house music. So yeah, I'm a slut for Disclosure. I'll just listen to like playlists like for hours and hours, just Disclosure. So the first track that I listened to was Higher Than Ever Before. I really liked how it just started with like that video game feel, that like high low wave music. I don't know music terms, you guys. Like I'm just a connoisseur, not a genius about it. But it's like that type of music that it goes, "Ooh," you know.
Whoa, it's a technical term.
Whoa. So it felt like that. And you could tell that they were like really like moving in on like that old school like house music, warehouse, just kind of grimy, like 90s kind of feel. Like real rave type shit, drum and bass.
It did have a nice like day party house music feel. I got about a few songs in, and you know what? I owe it to myself to finish it because Disclosure's always collaborated with dope singers.
Yeah, it's very vocally driven.
And Foxy, who were there guest appearances on this album?
I was in kind of a rush, so I didn't really take note of any, but I didn't see anybody on the few songs that I did. I only saw Disclosure credited, so I'm sure, but out of these, not anybody notable from like first glance. I also listened to the track a little bit. It felt like, that bubble pop kind of feel. Um, for Disclosure, this was very different feeling to me, like consistent, but still a little bit different. Looking for Love was my favorite out of all the tracks that I listened to. It had that usual like Disclosure feel that we come to know and expect and love. It was a really great track for like shuffling. So if you're into shuffling, if you need a new shuffling song, there you go. Looking for Love. Really good melody, and it felt Daft Punk influence. So check out that one.
Definitely believe Disclosure's kind of in a similar lane to Daft Punk.
I would definitely say so. I mean, both are very like vocally carried. Although Disclosure doesn't do the vocals and Daft Punk does. So I guess it's a little more in there, but I'm getting too specific. And then my song of the week is Shakewell and Germ, Garden Tomb. So are they putting out like a collab album together?
Yes, they are.
Two? Okay. I hadn't heard of Germ.
Germ's been one of their affiliate artists for many years, like since they started. I think he signed to G59 officially, I want to say like 2020 maybe. But yeah, Germ's always been around. He was always on songs with Pooya and Fat Neck and Suicide Boys as well. He's done 3 EPs with Suicide Boys. And Shakewell did 1 EP with Suicide Boys this year. So they're Great 5-9's like always been a family.
I had only been familiar with Shakewell, just stuff that I had heard of. Phone's dying. Just stuff I had heard of him on his own, or that song that he did with Fat Nick with like the really trippy music video. Um,
Right. Yeah, I posted
uh,
that when that came out.
so at the time that that music was like starting to like become like more of like a regular like staple for what was like coming out, I was dating a real music snob and he kind of shamed me out of liking any of it. So I missed all that. But now I do like Shakewell though. So I chose this to check it out as my song of the week. They make a really great duo, and it's really good because it goes into what we were just talking about, that back and forth kind of collab. They play well on each other. It was my
Right.
first time hearing Germ. I was very impressed by Germ's ability to keep like that melody strong with like a quick and like cadenced vocal rap style. It was impressive. I love Shakewell.
Exactly.
Uh, Shakewell is very diverse. Sometimes he doesn't even sound like the same person.
Shakewell's very diverse. Germ's very diverse. I think Germ kind of carries that same um, trap singing style that like Ruby the Terry from Suicide Boys is able to do too.
Mm-hmm.
And about Shakewell, not to be the broken record, but he is very diverse. But one person I've always wanted to hear Shakewell work with is Wally the Sensei. Now, some of you are going to be like, Palm, that doesn't make sense. And I'm here to tell you about why this will make sense. Okay. It's because they both have a singing trap style that's so unique, and it's like they both kind of have like a gangster rock star thing. They're both from the LA area. Shakewell being from the San Fernando Valley, 818, Wally Sensei being from Bompton, and it's the fact that is we're side by side here as affiliates. You got to go talk to your dog.
I'm gonna go fucking get her because she's really pissing me off. I'll be right back.
We keep explaining to the people. So, Wally the Sensei and Shakewell have similar collaborators. You know what I mean? Like the fact that Jay Worthy's done a song with Ramirez. Ramirez has been on a bunch. Has worked with Shakewell, obviously. So there's that, and like I feel like that's like the one missing link or piece of the puzzle that you need.
I'm back.
You're back.
Sorry about Kitty being such a dick this whole episode, you guys.
Kitty, don't be a dick.
Come here, dick. Come here. Let's show everybody how cute you are. So our last stuff we have to talk about.
Aw.
Okay, Kitty. Is that the attention you ordered? All right. So last stuff that we have to touch on this week is going to be our weekly sex work tip. So I started kind of touching on it earlier. I think that a big thing is networking. We've talked about how important it is. But I think like a big thing that also should be touched on is you can't force yourself to network with people that aren't like-minded to you. And so to, expand your energy only for people that are really going to ultimately like be somebody that you're going to want to collab with in some sort of a way. You can't expect shit just to work because you guys have the same job title. Your hustle's not going to be the same as somebody else's. So trying to force something to work isn't going to be ideal ever, and you're going to end up not passionate about what you're doing. If you build that network up with like-minded people, people that have that same end goal, people that have the same hustle as you, they work in kind of the same ways, consistency, things like that, that's going to take you way further than trying to pour into too many places. So, and also a big thing is your network, have similarities with people because people are going to, I share stuff of like my girlfriends on my Instagram, and, they'll gain followers from that kind of stuff seamlessly without it actually being like for the sake of promotion. It's like, I admire this person. So it just works, and it's like that natural flow. And people ask me a lot, how do you like make it over like Instagram? And like, because I'm like, for 10 years almost, Instagram has been one of the most steady sources to regular clients for me. And it's just by me being myself and naturally going with what works for my aesthetic or, my passions, things like that, people that I work with. So really like get that network of like-minded people. If you're a sex worker and you want to meet some cool people, hit me up. Like I got a lot of really fun, amazing, hardworking, inspiring women in my network. And then the other thing that I wanted to touch on is like events and collabs. You guys might notice on Instagram, I do a lot of collabs where we'll go live and we do little events and stuff. And those are gold. If anything, it just builds like that relationship between clients or potential clients, yourself and other sex workers. It's exciting. It's something different. And you can control like what platforms those are going to be on. You can control like the flow of what it is because you're using your own platform for it rather than going out into the wild. So my bullet points: network, protect your energy, only expand on people that match that same energy, and collab because it's proven that a collaboration makes 3 times as much money as a solo project. But don't do it with people you don't, you know, mesh
Makes
with.
sense. One new segment I want to add on the fly to Beatbox is the podcaster's tip. And one thing I want to acknowledge is that as a podcaster and just as a brand, podcasts are media outlets. With that being said, everything in the news you need to be commenting on, everything, especially if it relates to entertainment, especially if it's going to be controversial. And I think podcasts have a little bit more leeway to take a position of bias rather than your traditional news outlets being, your local news or your well, Fox is going to lean one way, of course. MSNBC is going to lean one way. CNN shouldn't lean either way, but CNN is going to be CNN. Then you go to like BBC and such, but and Young Turks and such. But podcasts as far as independent journalism have a lot of power in their hands. How is that power used? You got to comment on everything and cover everything, even if it's if you're a duo team, you say one comes with the fact and the other comes with the opinion. So again, people ask me all the time, well, how do I get started podcasting? You got to be able on these topics, whether they pertain to your goal or not. And especially if you're in a certain industry, like my podcast covers the sex industry, I need to be speaking on those topics. Just so happens that me personally, I'm not in the sex industry, so I'm less inclined to make statements about it. Because what I don't want to do is turn like into this BBW porn star version of DJ Academics, where it's a lot of he said, she said, and we're just getting every time there's a Twitter disagreement, then that becomes my post.
Right. Um, and I think another good tip on, if you're gonna do a podcast is consistency.
Yes.
We've definitely had weeks where we've had to go on without each other or
Yeah.
just cancel as a whole. But it is something that you have to come back from. It can't be something that you get in the habit of. Consistency is key. People are going to learn to want to look for the same thing every week. We're creatures of habits. It's like if you had like a morning radio show once a week or something like that. It's the
Exactly.
same
It's the
thing. Like,
consistency because people will be looking for your show week to week.
I mean, and we know, like, if Beatbox, failed you guys, how else were you gonna, know the new
No,
songs?
no. I think with Beatbox we scratched the surface of like a lot of things that I want to do with the music and that you want to more hats you want to take on as a content creator and not just do spicy stuff. I think when you find your voice, as a music journalist too, and that's through Beatbox. So yeah.
This is my passion project. This is the one thing that doesn't feel like work for me. And also it's helped with just me listening to music again and getting out of a funk of like being stagnant and those damn kids with their fucking TikTok music.
Right, right. I mean, personally, this is just this expands to the repertoire. If you for a media company, there's got to be more shows under this. It just can't all just be like Palm and then Palmcast and the Victor's Protection Program. This added one more thing that I needed a co-host. So
How
this
lucky for me that it gets to be a little old boxy box.
Foxy Box. Yeah.
Or Foey Bo, as some people will call me.
Bowie Bo.
Foey Bo. Like, how do you say your name? Foey Bo? Boxy Bo?
All
I get
right.
that a lot
Well, we
too.
hope you guys enjoyed this broadcast of Beatbox, and we will see you next week.
Yep. Thanks for joining us, you guys. Same damn time, same damn place next week.
Peace, love, palm. We want thickness.
Bye.
Bye.